Beautiful morning to you, Lagos. Beautiful morning to you, my audience. Beautiful morning to you, watching me on YouTube and Facebook. How's been your night? Yes, today is another beautiful day, 29th day in the month of June 2021. And of course, this is still Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio station, powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. Well, you can follow us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram at Lagoon Radio NG, and you can also tell your family and friends to listen via our website on www.lagoonradio.ng. For more news updates, you can log on to lagoon.news to keep you updated. My name is Taiwo Adiola Shabiligbe, and it's about time for the newspaper review. With me in the studio is Inina Abigail Umba and Simidele Oke. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Shab. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. All right, today on the newspaper review, we'll be reviewing the Nigerian Tribune together with Business Day, Blueprint, the New Telegraph, the Leadership newspaper, Daily Trust, and of course, News Direct, Nigerian News Direct. Together with myself and Abulabi and Simidele, okay, we'll be reviewing this newspaper together. In no particular order, we'll be starting with the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, boldly written with on the front page is our defecting governors lack courage, said PDP. And the writer to the story says threatens to challenge Zamfara government in court. 18 APC governors set to receive Matawal. National State Assembly members, PDP excos at all levels in the state to also defect to APC. All this you get on page 27. Abigail, anything?
No, I've already said this. Our politicians have literally become swingers. They just swing left, swing right. It's not a new thing. Defecting from one party to the. That's what I'm saying. Let's just do a two-party system where you're either here or here, and not swinging from one party to the other at your convenience. I also feel like this parties should actually have some sort of I know they have their regulations. I know they already have fines that you pay to become a member of the party and all of that, but there should be some sort of rules. You can't just leave and bounce back. If not the fact that they all do it, like they all know that, you know what, if this is the party that is moving forward, I'm gonna defect. And if the tone changes, they're also going to dance to another beat. So if not that they all have the same mindset, it would have been very tedious for you to just jump out of a party and jump back in. Because what's your purpose? What are you doing? How are you impacting? So yeah, it's their lifestyle. I'm not surprised.
All right, all the stories you get on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. And at the very top of the paper, we see COVID-19. Federal government bans travelers from South Africa. And the writer says to receive more vaccines from India. You can get this story on page 3. And also Chidinma, please await pathologist report over Super TV boss. You can get this story on page 4. Agony as Kaduna Abuja train breaks down. The story you can get on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Also, Anga, CBN releases 50,000 of maize from reserves. You can get this story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And on the side, the left side, we have tuition fees hike. One student killed in Kaduna, page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Students go violent over colleague's death in Abeokuta. Can also get this on page 4. 1 killed, 9 injured as masquerade attack mosque in Osun State. You can get this story also on page 5. Insurgency. Army loses 2 soldiers, kills 12 terrorists in Borno. You can get this story on page 4. And on the right hand side, we have restructuring. Why we want to meet Ohaneze, Afenifere, others. ACF has come out to say this. You can get the story on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. And also, PIB must address governance structure. Future investment, SGF tells NAS. And the writer to the story says, as Reps Northern Caucus backs PIB in its present form. Can get this story on page 2 as well. Alright, lastly on the Nigerian Tribune, Sanwo-Olu reappoint 12 out of 14 sacked LASU governing council members. Omo Eko Pataki group kicks. You can get all the story on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, so moving on to Business Day newspaper. Broadly written there is how China, India, Vietnam lifted millions out of poverty. If you want to read more on how this is possible, how this was done, you can see more details on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. Explainer what it costs to make a national passport. You can also continue reading that on page 31 also of the Business Day newspaper. And inside, Honeywell Flour Mills banks on affordable pricing to sustain growth. This can be found on page 7. Still on the Business Day newspaper, Amcon places Nikon Hotel for sale. This can be found on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. Yeah, this is the most on the front page of the Business Day newspaper.
All right, and on to the blueprint papers. Boldly written on blueprint papers, we have as El Rufai briefs Buhari on labor crisis, Kaduna comes under tension over tuition fees hike, student killed. We can get that on pages 6 and 14 of the blueprint papers. Students were unruly, riotous, police says. Nance threatens to occupy Kaduna July 12 and to meet Gumi. Still on blueprint papers, 900 million naira fraud. ICPC rejects plea bargain to arraign ex-JAMB boss Ojeri Day in July. We can get that on page 7 of the blueprint papers. And right at the top of the blueprint papers, Zenith, GT Bank, 5 others among Nigeria's most valuable banks. Wow. Can get that on page 23 of the blueprint papers as well. And right at the top, join ruling party, lose your seat. PDP tells Matawale. Is that a threat? As Ekiti monarch regains freedom after 2 million naira ransom. We can get that on page 7 of the blueprint papers. Wow, ransom. I think we're told not to pay ransom anymore. So why are we seeing this really?
Till they kidnap one of the governor's child, you don't think that we will pay ransom.
No, because that was what I heard, that there's a particular duration of imprisonment if you pay ransom to kidnappers. So who paid the ransom? Who paid the 2 million naira ransom?
Don't worry, no? The spirit behind Nigeria paid.
That made me remember this is still trending really, like who are the unknown gunmen. I think the man is in trouble right now anyways. Okay, moving on. In blueprint papers still there, on page 22 of the blueprint papers, RMAFC to begin review of revenue allocation formula. Yeah, we can get that on page 22. And right at the bottom on shipment, federal government loses 5 billion naira revenue to importers' wrong declaration. Wow. As troop kill 12 terrorists. Recover gun trucks, arms in Borno. We can get that on page 6 of the blueprint. And still on the chieftaincy tussle matter, Delta warlord's wife gang raped. House set ablaze. As lastly on blueprint, NSITF misappropriated 84 billion naira in 4 years. Senate alleges. So what were they looking at?
No, the 84 billion naira now looks like 8 naira. 84 billion naira.
You know the way these people call money, like the way these people call money, I don't understand. I'm always like, is it still the same money or is other money entirely?
How did they pack it? 4 years.
Yeah,
That's a
84
lot.
billion naira. So that's like 21. Let's say an average of 21. Let me do analysis. An average of 21 billion naira per
1 year.
year. So that's wow, 21.
And how many
billion naira.
millions make 1 billion?
1,000 millions make
That's a
1
lot.
billion. Abigail is speechless.
I can't even be bothered anymore. So.
No, it's not like her actually.
No, I can't be bothered.
It's really bothering. Like it's heartbreaking.
If you're counting the number of times that you've read things that are heartbreaking, like your heart should not even be functioning anymore.
So what can one do?
Well, life support like that. So nah, I don't want to be.
All right. You have something to say?
No.
Okay, moving on to the New Telegraph. At the very top of the paper, we'll see Senate uncovers 84 billion naira misappropriated funds by NSITF. And the writer to the story says Nigeria losing $30 billion annually from revenue leakages, says Rev'd.
Is it the same country that they are borrowing money from? Borrowing money from outside. Like, how are we missing all this and then we are borrowing? I don't understand. Like, I get lost when you're telling me you want to borrow money. Now, for instance, if you want to give me money,
This is actually why we are borrowing money, because they were talking about misappropriated fund. I mean, it is gone. They didn't even know how it came and how it went. This is why we're in debt.
no, see, it's like this now. If I have money, if I have 1 naira, I know that I want to buy something 2 kobo, this one 2 kobo, this one 2. I know how I'm managing that money. So that means the money is in excess for you to misappropriate it.
And that's
They
it's
can't
not
account for
one
it.
person. It's not when it comes to things like it's not like you just said if you. That is it's just you and your pocket.
Yeah, let me just even go there first. I will show you people how to misappropriate
So,
money.
be the change you want to see. Be the change you
Ario.
Alright.
All right, can continue reading that story on page 5 of the New Telegraph. And also would see Lagos declares 400 filling stations illegal in Badagry. In Badagry alone.
400.
Is that how big
How many
the-
filling stations?
How
I don't
many filling
understand.
stations do we have in Lagos
Is that national infrastructure? As in, they're just building
So
filling
now-
stations.
400 in Badagry alone.
How many is Badagry?
Are you kidding me?
It's not Badagry. Yeah.
Badagry at the back of
Badagry
our...
on the way to.
It's not
on
even
the way to-
Ikorodu.
Okay, it says
Wow.
he already sealed 20 and he has gone after owners of the others. So out of 400, he was able to steal 20.
You mean
Remaining,
380.
that's a lot. But you can get that story on page 8 of the New Telegraph. Autumn. Jeddah East herdsmen killed 7,400 Christians in the north in 6 years. You can get that story on page 5. Amcon says Nikon hotels open for sale.
Why? I've actually have somebody who puts it on their WhatsApp status, the Nikon hotel, and I'm like, what's going on? Did they file for bankruptcy? Is it? I know Amcon usually takes over properties where they are unable to probably meet up payments or maybe fraud is involved. So what's the story behind? What's the story behind this
I
one?
know it's owned by Jimo Ibrahim, and then he has always had that case with Amcon over time. And
Now they finally
see, whoa, ati Amcon, no,
That's
ati
Nikon, no?
All right. It says no
Alright.
caveat emptor. You can get this on page 2, 3, and 4 of the New Telegraph. And also Sunday Igboho. No one can stop our July 3rd Yoruba Nation rally in Lagos.
I don't understand. They wanted to do protest June 12th.
We didn't see him. Some people claim he was already in Lagos, but
Now, July 3rd rally.
July 3rd is what?
The
Saturday,
vehicle he entered.
Oh, jam.
He do not used to
brake-
move fast, you know. He's a little bit on the slow side.
They now had fuel problem.
This 400, you know they sealed 20.
it's actually
They sealed
moving
20
like
out of
snail.
400.
Don't let us use
Eh?
tortoise. Snail. So
But
it's as
you're
true
not
as that.
understanding.
Just July 3rd now that we're looking at. That's a Saturday, Abi.
Of
Let me
course.
go and declare it a no going out.
But it's just it's a peaceful protest now. Did they say they want to carry Amotekun and Kong?
No, even the June 12th protest in Ojota.
No,
See
Ojota
how
was-
everything ended.
Yeah.
That one, the fact that one does not mean people will not always stand up for their rights if they feel
Yeah.
that
Stand
it's
up,
being
but-
trampled upon. You
should
know,
stand up, but the security operatives are
Should make him sit down.
I didn't listen to the standing up.
it should make you sit down. But yeah, if you don't keep trying, if you don't keep knocking, the Lord said that you should knock, the door will be
And
open.
you open.
But yeah, you knock once, you not open it. You're gonna keep knocking with faith.
knocking.
Maybe if you knock and they not here, use doorbell.
Or you use stone.
Or you use stone, no?
All right, you can get that story on page 8 of the New Telegraph. And boldly written on the front page of the paper is COVID-19. Federal government extends travel restrictions to South Africa. Retains Brazil, others unleashed. Says Indian variant not in Nigeria.
Praise the Lord.
But this South Africa, someone just came back from South Africa yesterday.
Well, they just extended the travel restriction. Let's wait till.
Yeah, you also can't travel from Nigeria to Dubai.
So that one is standard. You can't go into Dubai from Nigeria. You can't go out. But this South Africa, there's someone that is still saying they stole his money at the airport.
That's why they stole his money. How did he
Why
travel?
did he come?
Where did he travel from?
Oh my
I
God.
get this story on page 5 of the New Telegraph. Court hears EFCC's motion to forfeit Jonathan's $5.78 million, 2.4 billion naira
It's
to
different money.
federal
These are two
government.
different.
Yes. $5.78 million
These are Mama Patient's money.
and
The one that
2.4
they said
billion
is
naira
her
to
business.
federal government.
It's better than going to prison. Just
Yeah, you
leave
should
the
just
money.
forfeit it.
Forfeit the
Okay,
money.
so this one that they forfeited now, where is it? Where is the money?
It's our account.
It's in
Account.
Nigeria
We will
account.
not misappropriate this one.
We
promise
pray
you.
so. We pray so.
We're not gonna do that.
You're speaking as if you're there.
No, see, you need to have faith in this country.
No, I have
We're
faith,
going
actually.
somewhere. Any money that enters our hand like this, we utilize it. We're not gonna miss it.
It's not going to be
you see that
farmer money.
English?
It's not going to
Is
be
that-
misappropriated.
it's not going to
You won't hear that English
It's
again.
not going to be trader money.
It can be, but
See this girl.
You know?
Have you benefited from the 1 million people that was?
That was given
see,
10,000
have faith,
money.
have faith in this
I could
country.
go have faith. Restructuring. SCF to send bill to NAS. Tribal leaders bent on destroying Nigeria, says Sultan.
Buddy.
The writer to the story says, Olumakaiye National Assembly, NULGE on the same page on Constitution. But you can get the story on page 4 and 26 of the New Telegraph. And at the very bottom, this is a matter of health. Artificial sweeteners could pose health risk. You can get this story on page 27 of the New Telegraph.
Agreed.
All right, moving on to the leadership newspaper. The topic and CPIB will facilitate exploration of crude oil in North. The Southern is saying this. This can be found on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. At last, World Leaders Podcast Studio, UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed wants more women in leadership position. This can also be found on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. The writer under that says calls for coordinated approach to humanitarian crisis in the Northeast and commends leadership for courageous journalism. Okay. So Amina Mohammed, who is the UN Deputy General, is calling for more women in power. And we have enough women in this room to go in power.
Yes.
Yes. I was already saying she wants to go and
There's one on my left hand side.
So please get involved.
I'm already adjusting myself.
It's all right. Can I
She
just
can't
be
even
your
wait to
PA?
get there to teach us how to appropriate.
Can I just be
to
your
teach
PA?
them?
Appropriate.
okay.
You're not
I want to teach you how I want to
appropriate
teach
it
you how
properly.
to spend Nigeria's money.
Okay.
All right, still on the leadership newspaper. So there's a picture of Amina Mohammed congratulating the leadership newspaper for their great journalism.
Wow. Congratulations.
It's all right. Still on that, CBN floods market with 50,000 MT of maize. I'm saying, are they packing? Is it maize that's gonna solve that problem? Is it
I
a
don't
different kind of
understand.
maize?
They package
Megatons of maize. Is it maize that's gonna solve?
So who are they giving?
Is CBN in charge of maize?
Is it for fowl or tomato?
I don't know.
To make ogi or for fowl, I don't understand.
You know, before they have advised us pay moi moi and granuts
It's good business. It's good business for you people.
Yeah.
So maybe they want to facilitate it. Okay, it is well. FG begins review of revenue allocation formula. That can also be found on page 4. Post COVID-19, UBA leads the pack in SME support. That can be found on page 22 of the Leadership newspaper. And then lastly, JAM candidates link math failure to wrong syllabus. It's all right. After they have failed the children. That can also be found on page 5 of the Leadership newspaper. That's the much on the Leadership newspaper.
Okay. Daily Trust. All right.
Yeah, we'll just take Daily Trust because we're time has leave us and go.
Yes, we'll take that, and that's gonna be a wrap. ACF puts northern lawmakers on alert, and the writer to the story says we must reject plots to divide Nigeria. Sultan says will discharge our responsibilities. Gbajabia Miller also said nothing on ground to restructure CNG. All these you find on page 5 of the Daily Trust.
They should just tell us the name we're going to be. If it's UAR or Nigeria anymore.
Yeah, I've changed.
Haven't you started learning how to speak Chinese?
All right, new revenue sharing formula ready this year. Federal government. We have road crashes. Kill 2,233 Nigerians in 4 months.
How many of us is that remaining?
So I'll times that by 3 because we don't have good data in Nigeria.
So how many of us are remaining from road accidents alone? We're not talking about terrorist attack, killings and all of that. Just by road, you entered road, bish, bump, whatever you die. No, that's a lot.
All right, you can get that story on page 4 of the Daily Trust. Deputy governor remains as senators, reps. Others follow Matawale to APC.
Safe journey.
You can get this story on page 12 of Daily Trust. All right, at the very bottom, tension in Lagos as Igboho insists on July 3rd Yoruba Nation rally. Are you on that tension?
Well,
are you tensed?
Why would it? Why tension? Wow.
All right,
is my father the president?
You can get that story on page 4 of Daily Trust. CBN releases 50,000 empty of maize to 12 coins to crash price, and you can get this on page 17.
Now you are understanding.
What are we really? What products? What food produce do we usually get out of maize?
Cornflakes.
Cornflakes, yeah. Cereal.
How many of you are eating it?
We all eat cornflakes.
From where, Gary?
We eat cornflakes. We eat popcorn.
Is that rice? Though?
We drink ogi. Which other one? You can use corn to make swallow. Yeah, you can use to make swallow. Yeah. What else again can you use? Is it corn or kunu? Really?
No. Is it corn?
Is it corn or cow milk?
No. They use
corn.
They call it. Is it jerabi or kababa? I don't know. Corn. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever.
Okay, so 2 students protesting tuition hike shot dead in Kaduna State. You can get the story on page 5. It's quite tiny. NDIC begins payment to depositors in 14 disclosed banks. You can get the story on page 19 of the Daily Trust, and that's how on Daily Trust. Well, quickly on the Nigerian News Direct, which happens to be our last one for today. Abigail wants to take that for us.
Okay, yes, on the Nigerian News Direct, you can see at the top there, 18 appeal court justice take oath of office as CJN warns against temptation. Do not be tempted by brown envelope, white envelope, or any kind of envelope.
And Ghana must go back.
Don't be tempted, so do your job. That can be found on page 4 of the Nigerian News Direct. Deceased from extorting courier operators. Lagos Assembly warns LGs, LCDs as local governments and all of that. So that can be found on page 4. NPA probe panel extends memorandum suspension by 1 week. That can also be found on page 12 of the Nigerian News Direct. Banks orders intensify borrowing from CBN amid liquidity challenges. And the writer under that says borrowing rose by 183%. That can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. Alleged 900 million naira fraud. ICPC to arraign ex-JAMB registrar DB Ojerinde on July 6th. That can be found on page 11 of the Nigerian News Direct. No fraudulent dealings in planned equity participation in Dangote's refinery. Who go ask? NNPC is telling us that on page 2. Petroleum product marketers have no plans to go on strike. Ipman is telling the president, is reassuring the president. We are here for that. And why there is crisis in Kwara, APC Governor Abdulrasak has come out to say. You can read more details on that on page 22 of the Nigerian News Direct. And open market peruses bother inducing illicit drug circulation in Nigeria. Ohabunwa reviews that can also be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. I think that is the best, the most we can take.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that's all we can take for today on the newspaper review. For more news updates, you can log on to Lagoon.news, where you can catch up with more news stories here on Lagoon. Also, you can follow and like us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria. On Instagram is at Lagoon Radio NG. And the Lagoon Radio app is very, very much available on Google Play Store and App Store, irrespective of the device that you use. Don't forget to tell your family and friends to also listen via our website on www.lagoonradio.ng. My name is Taiwo Adiola Shabiligman. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Thank you very much, my producer. Thank you, Simidiliok and Ariola Ajanokuda joined in the middle of the show. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Good morning.
This is Lagoon Radio.